manage identity. So, basically, we were here right, create identity page through which you can create identity. We submit one request here yesterday for testers right, so identity got created here. Okay, now the same way, you have this two option, view identity and edit view is same thing. Like we open identity from this identity warehouse. No difference when you click on the view. Okay, now the other one is, manage identity, edit identity. Which identity want to edit it? Adam Kennedy. So you see here identity feed is showing blank here, and if I open here, Adam Kennedy, you see there is no option to edit. Okay, the reason is, generally is not allowed to change this attribute directly from here. Okay, but in case sometime it's required, right? So how can we, make that attribute editable? So go to your mapping if it is not advisable to edit from here. Where you should edit from? No, generally, this wall is data should come from authority system, other data. Yeah, so basically this is Adam Kennedy. Let's say, tomorrow Adam Kennedy wants to change his last name, right? So you need to reach out to the HR team and HR, once that HR team approved, they need to change the name in their HRMS system. In the next division, this value will be updated automatically. But also, we can do by ourselves too. So enable that option. For that you have to go here. Identity mapping here. Let's say, if we want to enable the region right, we should be allowed to modify the region attribute here. Okay, so how to do this? Make this, edit mode. It's a read-only. Make it permanent, so now you can permanently edit this field. Save this. Open this user again. Now you'll see edit button here. When I click edit, it will only allow you to change region here. Same with here. Go to manage identity. Edit identity. We can use let's say, Amanda Ross. Now you can only modify region, so this is not advisable actually. But see, at some time we do change because we create a lot of attribute here, right? So some attribute, we can modify it. So based on that, you can enable it like this. But in general process, the user needs to go here. HRMS system. This is a flow that we are using right. So the user needs to go here HRMS, and once that HRMS team enter, or basically you can say update the record, then in the next aggregation will bring that data into Sailpoint database. So we should not actually change it because, see, if I change the email address here, if I change the last name, it will become a totally different identity which is not present in the HRMS database, right? So this is not an advisable, but to enable this is how you have to enable it, okay. Now, if you see, we have enough data here. We have different users, right? We have so many users here and we have application to the application. If we go to entitlement catalog, these are the different access. For example, if I pick any random access, I can see that this is a one user who has membership on this. This access, basically same for a track application. So basically, now we have enough data. Okay, this is the one access on the track application. You see, members, these are the member who has access on this application. So now, basically, we have enough data to test out. Different feature previously. We use this group population by group. Right now there's one more feature which is most widely used. If you go to Sailpoint you will see on the front screen, go to Sailpoint. Here you go down. Products. You see compliance management, access, certification, and separation of duties. So, accept certification is your access review? Basically, that we'll explore in the coming slides now the separation of duties and compliance policy, but providing multiple policies here actually. But we can create like mostly. Entitlement SOD is widely used right now. What is this entitlement SOD policy? So policy is basically any type of rule that you want to implement so you can control some access behavior of the user. Let's say, we have different user, let's say Aaron Nicholas. This is one user. Go to application. Expand this track. So currently, this Aaron Nicholas has 4 access on the track. Application approve input. Reject super right. And if you go to the entitlement catalog, we know that totally. We have 4 access for the track application. Search here by the track. Now these are the 4 access right. Let's say you want to implement a policy that at a time a user should not have combination of this to access. Let's say, approve an input. So if you see by the name right, approved means who can approve the request, reject means who can, reject the request. Super is basically super admin input is basically who can create the request. Okay, so this is for the timesheet. Now you have to assume that this is a basically and request is somewhere you can request for reimbursement request or some payment request and same time there will be user who can approve those requests. So at a time, user should not have this both access together. Otherwise what will happen? User will create a multiple request and user has authority. He will or she will automatically approve. I mean, they will approve all the request that is generated by them, right? So, as per the organization compliance, we have decided that at a time, any user should not have this to policy at a time. Okay, so in order to maintain this, we have a policy over here. Policies go to new policy entitlement, SOD policy. SOD means segregation of duty, and you can also call it separation of duties. Okay, so simple. I will put name track, SOD. Okay, policy violation on. Let's say, if any user is violating this policy, right, who will be the owner? Any specific identity you can choose from here. By default, this is selected manager. So, for example, I am the user who is violating this policy, though, so volition will automatically generate to my manager. Okay, and if you have set any specific requirement you can put in the rule, so we will use this. Manager is a volition owner. Go down state is inactive. So select active, create new rule. This is your main rules. SOD policy rules. Click on this button here. You see this or two section, first entitlement set and second entitlement set. Okay. So here, based on this wizard, you can define those attribute, those in excess, basically right. So let's say we want to implement for approve and input. So first, we'll select application name. Click on add attribute which attribute we want to use, capability, so you will see capability, which capability. Approve same with second track application. Attribute capability, which capability input. So at a time, Sailpoint will check for all the user that they should not have this. You know this attribute, I mean this, and excess, first entitlement set and second entitlement set. If I save this done now, you will see this message. New rule capability, approve any of this entitlement. Conflict with any of this entitlement. Okay, save this. Okay, this is a bug. When you click on save, it will show you same page. So your policy's already saved, go to your policy. Yeah, this is a policy in active state. Okay, now you can run this policy by two-way. One is basically in a disabled manner and first one is active manner. Disable B means basically, simply. It will just check how many users are violating this policy. So when you click on this run simulation, it will trigger a task in the background. The task is triggered automatically. I will show you the task. Save this now. When you run this, it disable the policy here. Go. You click on this, you see it got disabled because whenever you run that policy it got disabled here, so you have to enable it again. Now coming to a target which is created here, Guru task here. There should be some task here. You see policy impact analysis track SOD. So new rule, number of pollution, 48. Okay, but how to? This is just for test purpose actually. Just you can, do an impact analysis from this task, how to run actually, for actual policy. Once you define your policy here, your policy should be in active state and inside this particular rule should be also in active state. So this is currently disabled done, so let me confirm this. Okay, yeah, now this is active. Okay, so this is our policy. Now go to task. Here. You have to run this, you have to select this task. Check active policy. Click on this task. You see here. Basically, if you see this is a copy of your refresh anti-cube task, I'll open a new tab here and search for refresh anti-cube task. Refresh. Anti-cube does lot of thing right. So if you see here many option, so this is what we did, what actually Sailor Bandit, make a copy of this task with only one option and level enabled. That is here, check active policy. So if you see the task name, check active policy, here you will see all the option disabled. Only one is enabled, that is, check active policy. So basically check. Active policy is a copy of this refresh anti-cube task, with only one option enabled, so you can use both tasks. You can also trigger the policy from this refreshing and EQ. But if you only want to trigger the policy volition, if you want to avoid other option, you can simply run this task. Check active policy, save and execute. Okay, 824. This is executed. You see policy check track. SOD total user check, 189. Out of that, 48 are violating this policy. Okay, 48 user are those user who actually have this access, approve and input both, so now the violation is created. Violation will be assigned to the manager. For example, if I take this user, Aaron Nicholas is no manager for this user. Okay, if you go to policy volition here right, you will see a 48 volition right for each user. You will see the owner. Who is the owner? But Amanda Ross Jerry Bennett is the owner now.